What's good, everybody? It's your boy Dkay, and we are back with another episode of Rude Love. What's going on? Tiana, what's going on?
Hola, how are you?
I'm chilling. Enjoying the hot weather. Can't be mad.
I don't know, I put my hair up. It was a hair up type of day in this 115-degree weather.
Let's see, because, I'm still Canadian, so I got to know what it is in Celsius.
Wait, Celsius? I seen you post about that the other day. Is that how you guys like?
Yeah. The US is the only place in the world that uses like degree Fahrenheit and like feet, pounds, like all that shit.
No, I didn't know that.
In the entire world, like.
I guess when I went to Paris, like, yeah, that makes sense. Even to like the way that like dollars are like measured, right? Like, isn't that different though? Currency everywhere. What's the currency over there? Is it
in Canada?
Yeah.
We have dollars, but it's just a Canadian dollar.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like in the UK, they have pounds, obviously, right? And like pence, I think. I don't know what. I really don't know.
Pence?
Yeah, like I don't know. In France, I don't know what they have.
Euros.
Euros. Okay. In Germany, it's like what, like francs, I think, or something. I could be wrong though.
Isn't Germany in Europe as well, though?
Yeah.
But it's still different, the currency?
I think so.
Huh.
I think so.
We need to take another history lesson. We need to go back to school.
Yeah. Well, we need to travel though. We need to be like, like world travelers. Yo, that's what I'm trying to get.
We're going to backpack soon, guys.
Yeah.
We're like, hey guys, back with another episode here in France.
That'd be crazy though.
Manifesting it.
Yo, imagine like understanding like the dating dynamic in different places in the world.
Wait.
Right?
Dkay, I think are we going to do that?
I'm down.
I'm down.
Yo.
Low-key, when I went to France, those men were fine.
What?
Like, they're tall. No one's like, I mean, not to be like a dick or anything, but no one's overweight in like France. Because everyone is using public transit because the metric system over there is like way more advanced than it is here, or they're like walking everywhere.
Really? Damn. But yeah, they say that like obesity to the level that it is again only in the US.
Well, yeah, it's like fucking supersize me, McDonald's at every corner, Starbucks, like it's terrible.
Yeah.
They're literally trying to kill us with the food but that's another conversation.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So let's update each other. What's the updates? What do you want to share with us so far, like with your stuff? Because you kind of went like this for like the last, since the last time. Like I was like, oh word, and then it was like, oh shit, and then it was like,
So I mean, updates you as far as like who I'm dating or like what's going on in my life. I'm just kind of doing my own thing, but it's very new, obviously. Like I'm just kind of starting to realize like God removing a lot of people in my life, and I've been kind of like praying over it. But I'm just such a lover girl. But honestly, I'm just gonna lock in right now and focus on like me and like building myself up, because I just feel like I know my worth, and I'm tired of people coming in and out of my life and being like too available, too loving. So like at this point, it's not that I'm changing my heart. I think I'm just guarding it a little bit better and like trying to see people's true intentions before like totally going all in. And it sucks because it's like, that's not who I am. Like I'm such a lover. Like I immediately like just come from a very genuine, sincere place. But I think I've just learned like I don't need to change in my heart. I just need to have better judgment as far as like who I allow into my life.
Right. Right. I feel like, one of the easiest ways to kind of get that experience, because it's kind of like wisdom at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you just got to really like, surround yourself around like older people a lot, right? Because then you start to see certain, like they'll explain things a certain way, and then you can be like, oh, okay. Because I feel like now I just see people's bullshit so easily, whereas like before I definitely didn't. I definitely didn't. And you're still like hella young. I always forget that you're like only 23, though.
I'm 23. I know. But see, it's interesting that you even say that, because I feel like personally, I've been around like older people my whole life. Like I've always like, even in school, like I always dated older. Like previous relationships, I always dated older. Even like this past relationship, like you're 32 and you're still behaving in the way that you're behaving. You don't have any emotional intelligence. So like for me, I think like it's different. Like if you want to have like a sincere relationship, I think like you have to date like at this point 35. I don't know. Like I don't know when men are ever ready, or maybe it's just the people that I'm dating like we've been talking about. But I just feel like in terms of like age, it just hasn't really done it for me. Because I date nothing but older people.
Yeah, but see, that's why I guess they say for real that like age is really just a number though. Like,
yeah.
Because for me, I don't think that it was necessarily age that did much for me. Like, I personally still feel just as young as like I was when I was 20, 21. Like, I really don't feel that much older.
Right.
But at the same time, the difference is that I've like gone through enough bullshit that I realized, okay, I don't want to even invite this type of fuckery into my life anymore. So for that reason, I chose to like develop a certain level of like emotional intelligence. Whereas before I just didn't really see, like there was no point in it. You know, it was like I could just easily do the fuckboy shit if I wanted to. But like now I just, it's actually so much more peaceful though now to be able to like see things and like really describe them. And I've been having a lot of deep conversations lately, and like sometimes I would think that like, yo, because I'm always open to like somebody telling me that my perspective is wrong or the way that I'm seeing it is wrong. But I feel like I'm even able to like describe people who are like against me in a situation, and then they still are like, oh, okay, like, damn, like you're right. Right. And I'm just like, oh, damn, like I must be really getting nice with it. Like, you know,
you really are. And I feel like that's like the best compliment. And like, I love the way that you carry yourself. I think you've really put in that work. And like, obviously you said like life experiences has brought you to like want to really put in that work with yourself. And I think like the issue with like my generation, or even men that are like as old as you or like are not, they're just not willing to face the facts and like have that conversation with themselves, really look internally. And it's like, we've had this conversation before, like hurt people are going to continue to hurt people.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't see an issue with like what you're doing or like how you're treating people, like it's going to catch up with you one way or another. But ultimately, like if they don't want to put in that work or develop those emotional skills that you have, or are even looking for like the type of relationship that say I want or like you want with someone, then they're not going to do it. They're going to continue to have meaningless connections with people, sleep around, and treat people like shit.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with this generation. Like it's always like, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. She's just another girl. He's just another guy. Like it's a cycle.
No, exactly.
You know?
100%. So I feel like, you know, there is really two, well, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more camps, but clearly there's like two camps, right? There's like people today who they want to be in a relationship, and then there's people who they really don't want to be in a relationship, but they're interacting with people who do want to be in relationships. And at the end of the day, they're, you know, just playing the game, where it's just like, okay, we need to be able to figure out how do the people who want to date link up with the people who want to date, and the people who don't want to like do none of that shit, they can just kind of find each other.
You know what I think it is too? It's like, I feel like if everyone was just less selfish and was just honest with their intentions, I think we could totally prevent this.
Right.
Like instead of you stringing this girl along because you want to have your cake and eat it too, I think like if you were to just sit down and like be a man and like just be honest with like women, or like vice versa, like, hey, like I'm really not looking for anything too serious right now. Maybe if that's where you're at, I'm not there. Like I'm still dating around. Like I'm not ready for commitment. Or hey, like I don't really see this going anywhere. We can still have fun, but like I don't think we're gonna get anywhere serious, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just being honest and just being authentic, and like I feel like that would like ease a lot of the heartbreak, or just like prevent this like cycle from happening. But people are just selfish, and like they just have their own intentions and prerogatives, and like I don't understand that. Like it's selfish, and it's just gonna continue the cycle of like hurting people.
You're right, yo. Like, okay, so because I was just about to say, like, I feel like that's a very hard thing for guys to do, And they don't realize that like once you're able to do that, actually, that's when your game really opens up. Like there's even a whole book on it. I think one of my old friends, he told me about this book, but it said something like it has to do with the idea that like the nice guys always lose. But it's only because at the end of the day, if you're willing to say the asshole thing, which is just the truth, which is, yo, either like I fuck with you, but I'm not all the way like into you, or I still just want to fuck bitches. Like, you know, if you could just be real about that, it's going to open up your game. Like, cause then that it puts that, and it's actually respect too, cause it puts that person in the position to be able to choose like whether they're rocking with it or not. Right.
Yeah.
You know, but like, and then I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, has a girl ever been that straight up? I feel like girls are also very deceptive, but there has been a couple girls. Like, for example, I remember I did chop it up with this one girl. She was older though. She was like probably 6 years older than me. But
how old is that? Like 30?
I can't speak on my age. I gotta keep it, you know, I'm baby face forever.
Okay, but you're calling me out. I'm 23.
Yeah, but you're at a good age where it's like, yeah, so what? This is what, you know what I mean? Yeah. No, but like, so she was a little bit older, and then to be fair, I kind of like didn't really like I didn't really like go all the way in kind of emotionally like with this person.
Were you honest with her?
No. Actually, okay, no, what it was emotionally I was there and I was available, but I was not really like physically like into it as much. And
wow.
It's not that I wasn't like down. It's just that like for me, I just like am really big on like moving slowly in that aspect, because then you miss like so many things about someone's like personality because you're just caught up in doing the lovey-dovey shit or like having sex and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So because I wasn't really like doing that, she like really took it the wrong way, and then she just like, yo, like
that happened to me. This exact situation happened to me. Like a guy was like very emotionally invested in me. And like of course it started off like we were intimate right away, and then like but we started to like actually take things serious. We built this bond, like already saying that we like loved each other. And then he was like, he sat me down one day and he was like, do you think that we can like maybe not have sex? And I took it personally. Like I got upset. I really did. Oh. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I'm very affectionate. I think like personal touch is like definitely like my number one like love language. And I just got super like offended. I was like, do you think like I'm gross? Like what did I do? Like instead of like being understanding to like what he was trying to like explain and share with me, and I think that's what you're kind of getting at. Yeah. I just took it so like personal, and like I wish I would have like handled that situation like being more understanding and more open-minded. Because like he was he is older than me. Like he's like 30. Okay, yeah. So, but like for him to like already have that perspective and like have that mindset like you do. Yeah. Like why do you feel that? Like you wanted to just like kind of get to know her like intellectually more, or like you just didn't want to like quite mix that like.
So the reason why is because honestly, I've had a really long history with sex in general and just overall like things like that. And I feel like I've gotten into so many situations where like basically I feel like I got finessed into like smashing girls before, and then they try and flip it on you like, oh yo, like, oh, but we already did all this, and it's just like, yo, like you pretty much like raped me. Put it in my face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like what you want me to say? Dang. So to be honest, like I actually have like kind of like a bad taste in my mouth sometimes about it, because I'm just like, yo, I just don't feel like I want to get into like a headache, you know? So that's one. And then number two is that, again, like I just realized that a lot of the time people, they're missing like the very nuances of somebody else, right? Like, and it could be like the smallest thing of like, how does this person like think? Like it could be so easy as like, let's just say me and you were dating, right? And then we're like, oh, like, okay, we have plans to go to the beach or something like that, right? Right. But let's just say like, you know, like the car broke down And then we wanted to get sandwiches, but then like, I don't know, we got the sandwiches and they were spoiled or whatever. So like just a lot of roadblocks along the way. So like how that person would deal with every single moment, like, is who they are. Because at the end of the day, your personality is like is an accumulation of how you deal with things, how you view things, and like all these things. Like that's your personality. It's the pattern that you make, right?
Wow.
So like, after that, like, I just realized that like when people are so focused on the sex and like the romance side, they completely miss what that person was actually doing. And they're just living in their own like fairy tale version of what that was.
That's real.
You know what I mean? So it could be that like, yo, this person was like getting mad, angry and agitated the whole time, but you didn't realize that because you had just like fucked and like...
You're pussy whipped. You're in La La Land. You're not thinking about that.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's...
Yo, you just totally brought this new perspective into like my brain right now.
Yo.
Because that's real, Dkay. Like that's very, very real. And I never thought about things like that.
Yo, I'm telling you.
And I feel like intimacy, like especially now with like our generation, it's like almost like, oh, you're not fucking, like, oh, then something's wrong. And it's because everything's so hyper, like, sexualized nowadays. And it's like almost like there's like this pressure. Like, you feel like you have to, like, oh my God, if we're not having like sex, if we're not constantly like, doing it, or he's not showing me love, like in that way, like, oh, there's something wrong. Like, he don't fuck with me. And I think a lot of that has to go back to like the whole social media thing, like the whole girls posting, like, I'm not judging, like, like I'm trying to change, but like, hey, I'm still like posting in bikinis, like I have to post for work and stuff, but there's just so many like different factors, I think, that we're not realizing it, and it's really like affecting like not just like women, but men.
Oh, 100%.
That's insane. Like, I never thought about it like that.
It's so true. Because like, if you think about it, now we're talking about intimacy too, right? And then, so like, I think that there's so many levels to intimacy, right?
Right.
Like, there's levels to sexual intimacy. Are you just fucking, or are you making love? And then also too, like, there's levels to just overall non-physical intimacy, in the sense that like, you could really be intimate with somebody who's, you're not even like romantic or sexual with them, but it's just more like how close are you to them? Like if this was an intimate setting for like a performance, for example, if I was like, yeah, I'm an artist, and I'm like, okay, I want to have like a show in an intimate setting. It's just a close setting, right?
Right.
So with that being said, as far as friendship goes or relationship, like it's like, how close can you get to somebody emotionally, right? So to be able to like notice the nuances of like, oh damn, like I can tell that this person is, what just happened, they're probably going to take it a certain way. So I need to show up for them like in a certain way, right? Like,
and it's all about learning and like how to love someone. And at the end of the day, like that's what's important. And that's what's going to lay the foundation for you to build a successful relationship. And people don't realize that.
Right.
A successful relationship isn't going to be built off of how much you guys fuck.
Right.
It's not going to be built off of like that type of sexual intimacy, and that's the issue. Like that's what's wrong, is like we're not building these relationships that we should be. No one's thinking the way that you're thinking. You literally just brought this to my attention too.
Word.
I'm like younger, so like I feel like everyone's just on this like plane and this path of like we have to like have this certain sexual chemistry and connection, and that's what we value most. And it's like we have it backwards.
Right. Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that I guess that's what makes it tough for me, because, like I've always been somebody who does go for that like high chemistry thing or whatever. And so I still do value it. But at the same time, I've realized that those are the situations where I got hurt the most. Right.
Maybe that's what's happening to me.
Yo, it could be. Yeah, it could be. It could be.
Dkay.
I know.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So you feel like that's what hurt you like the most? Like were those situations that you valued like the sexual chemistry as opposed to like more intelligent, like emotional intelligence?
Yeah, because the thing is, it's not to say that one is good and one is bad.
Right.
But it's just that one is more dangerous, right? Like, so of course there's something beautiful, and you know, you can't really describe it when you're around somebody. And even the way that they look at you, the way that they just interact with you, like the tone of their voice, everything, it just matches you perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm not discounting that at all, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even, and the thing is like, I've been around somebody who, honestly, like when I met them, I was just like, damn, like, is this real? Because I thought they looked perfect, but then the way that they were just matched everything. And I was like, yo, this is like weird, right? But at the same time though, those situations can hurt you more, because I feel like they put you in a place of like viewing it as like such an ideal thing that it becomes not a practical thing, in the sense that the opposite side of it is the practicality of the relationship, where you can like actually have those conversations to be like, okay, so the way that you said that like made me feel a way, like, you know, it's not the like cinematic or like movie version
Fairy tale, once again, we just mentioned it.
Right.
We're living in like this delusion, this fairy tale that's just setting us up for like failure.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
100%.
And we're not valuing the things that we should be. We're not putting in the work. And I feel like it's easier. Mm-hmm. People don't want to build those relationships. They don't want to have these conversations that we're having. They don't really give a shit.
Exactly.
And it's really like disappointing, because it's like, this is like where we're at. And I feel like you're single, I'm single. And it's just like finding like-minded individuals. Like you even said, like there's so many different ways to be intimate with like a person. You don't necessarily even have to have like a romantic relationship with them. Like when you connect with someone, you connect with someone.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like people are just not moving in that manner. And it's not just in relationships, it's in friendships, it's in workplaces, like it's everywhere. And like what you're surrounding yourself with, I think is like super important too.
100%.
Because like people have even come up to me too, and like I've been hearing this, I swear, like I don't know if it's like God like low-key speaking to me, but like just this week, because like obviously like kind of like explained my situation to like different people. Yeah. And they're like, I just think, obviously you're in the nightlife, I'm in the nightlife. Mm-hmm. Like you're probably going to find someone in the church. Right. I said that to you too. You told me that too. Yeah. So it's just like, you got to listen, and you got to like also like be aware of like where you're finding these people, where you're meeting them. Cause it's like the signs are there. Like you said, like, oh yeah, there's red flags, but a lot of times we don't necessarily even want to see them, because we're so stuck in this fantasy and this delusion of ours, like you're talking about. 100%. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, it is crazy for sure. That's why I don't know, these days, you know, like with dating, like at the end of the day, the only way that I feel like you can be successful dating is when you spend time basically dating yourself and really getting to understand, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I mean, it's classy, it's cliche. It's right. It's like cliche, like saying that, but it is true. But, so I wanted to talk to you about this thing that I sort of stumbled on, which is like this whole idea of internal and external relationship dynamic, right? And it's funny because I came into this conversation thinking that it would go a certain way, but then you kind of said something back to me that I was like, okay, I guess guys do this too, which I never even like really like thought of, you know. But we need to give people a more in-depth like perception of that. So what do you mean by like internal external dynamic, as far as what are you getting at there? Mm-hmm. So external relationship dynamic, I think, is very easy for people to understand. It's how does your relationship interact with the outside world, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's how do they view your relationship or how you interact with the world. So are you guys cool with letting the other person go on like lunch dates with other people? Or are you cool with letting your partner like and follow other people's like accounts on social media, right? It's just how does this relationship interact with the outside world? And then of course, like internal relationship dynamic deals with how are you guys interacting with each other, not having to do with the outside world. So I feel like I've always run into women who they are concerned with the external relationship dynamic more than
I think that they're concerned with the internal relationship dynamic so much to the point where like, whenever I do say certain things like, oh, I want this, or, you know, like, this is who I am, they're like almost ignoring it, or it should even be things that I shouldn't even have to say it. It's more like, if you're dating me, you should be aware, like you should be looking for these things because it's inside of our relationship. But they'll miss that, but then they'll see everything on the external side, like, oh yeah, you know, you like this girl's photo or whatever. And it's just like, at the end of the day, like, I can't like explain to you every move that I've made in the external world. So for me, I personally think what's more important is that internal side, but you know.
People are missing that. And it's so interesting. You just literally made something relate to like my situation right now too. It's like people will have the most to say about someone when you're dating them. And that's why I think it's so important for you to focus on the internal relationship. We were talking about this with social media. Obviously, you have a following. I have a following. Why are we allowing these people into our lives so intimately, right?
Right.
So it's like we're almost more concerned with like how our life is viewed from others' perspectives as to how it really feels for us, which is what matters at the end of the day. And like that's what everyone's missing. And that's the whole social media dynamic. That's what's literally polluting our relationships today and the dating world.
100%.
Because people are concerned about how their life looks, how their love life looks. Why do you think people are like, oh, they look happy on social media, but they're not happy in real life?
Right, exactly.
Like, this is the issue with dating today, one of them.
Right.
But ultimately, like, it's also like protecting, I think, like your internal relationship is what people are missing too. Like, you need to be protective of like who you're venting to about that person. Because do they have the best intentions for you? Do they have the best intentions for that person? Maybe there's some animosity. Maybe they don't want to see you win. Maybe they like you. Maybe they don't want this to work out.
Right.
So it's like you need to be aware of that. So it's like you need to be focused more on like you and that individual. Like if you like someone, if you have an interest in that individual, it shouldn't matter how they're perceived, what their past is, like who they've dated or whatever it may be. Like you need to focus on each other and build and grow internally, I think, before you're even able to like have a successful relationship, like external,
right?
Especially in today's world.
100%.
You know what I mean? But that's why so many like talking stages don't work out, because then they tell so and so, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, like I've experienced this." Like people gossip.
Right.
You're known, I'm known. Like, oh, like maybe she doesn't like me, or maybe someone that they know doesn't want to see us win. Maybe we're too like powerful together. Maybe they like the person that you're dating.
Right.
So like, and I've even expressed this to like the individual. I'm like, look, like let's just do our own thing. Let's build internally, and then we'll go out.
Yeah.
When we're like strong, when we've built that connection, when I know that you're able to come to me and say, hey, like, what's this that someone so-and-so told me, like, or you're just able to laugh it off because you've known me and we built that relationship and we have this like trust with each other and this bond that no one can break. But I mean, it's different. It's social media. It's different people. Like, do they have a platform? Do they value social media? Like, it all depends on that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and it's dope that you said like build internally, because I really believe in that. And like, but I feel like the word is so ambiguous. I realize that because I'll go into like certain situations of like, yeah, let's build. And then they're like, yeah, let's do it. But then we clearly have a different idea of what that means, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, as being like a woman, like, so what does that mean to you? Like, what does like building internally look like to you?
I feel like what's very important to me is like, I need someone who's gonna understand me. I need someone who's gonna be supporting me, and support and understanding is gonna come in many different ways. Like for me, I know that I internalize things a lot. I know that I require a lot of reassurance. Like even back to like, oh, like someone liking that picture or following a girl, like personally, like I just don't believe in that. Like it would bother me. Like I would bring it to my partner's attention, because why are you following another woman? You're giving her that attention that you should be giving me. Like, am I not enough? Obviously, like if it's for like a business, You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I totally get it. You have to network. Like, I'm in nightlife. Like, we're both like kind of like on the influencing like type thing. We have to like network. But if you're just like doing it just because you're like, why do you follow a girl? Why do I follow a guy?
Right.
Why?
There's no good answer. Like, obviously it's because something about that person is attractive to you, whether it's their personality or something. But at the end of the day, there's so many people there out in the world that's like, you can't follow everybody, right? So
You're like drawn to them in some way, shape, or form.
True.
And your partner, like, you wouldn't want your partner to do that to you. So it's like, you have to kind of set yourself at a higher standard too in that perspective. I think putting yourself in your partner's shoes and viewing it from a different perspective, as opposed to just being so close-minded and being like, well, it's not even that big of a deal. Maybe not to you, but to me it is. You know what I mean? And this is how it made me feel.
Right.
And how are we going to get past this? And this is my boundary. Are you going to be able to respect that?
Right.
If not, then maybe we shouldn't even pursue this because this is important to me.
Right.
You know, like, I can't build with you if you're not going to listen to me or my needs.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Shit, like, so the thing is, and I think I've told you this before, and I always say it, but I don't think you listen. I don't think you took my advice the last time. Do you even remember what it was?
To focus on myself, right?
No.
What?
It was to interact with each situation with saying, how are we going to build, right?
How are we going to build?
Yeah. So, because like the thing is
Oh, the whole like running up 100 mil with a girl and her like, because you get to see people's true colors when you're kind of looking at it in like a business perspective.
Yeah.
With the relationship.
100%. Because imagine like this. Okay. Imagine if.
I remember now.
Right? Imagine if like, okay, if me and you were dating and most of the time that we interact with each other, we're mostly basically coasting or enjoying each other's company, then that means that we're going to be like, oh, like talking about things that like, oh, did you hear this? Like, this is what happened to me today, or like things like that, right? It's going to be very like relaxing kind of thing, right? But imagine then if we were on the flip side trying to accomplish something, and it could be anything. Like, let's just say it was like, I don't know, what's something that you would like to do in life? Like
in general. I think like my main focus right now would just be starting my own business.
Okay.
So like that's something that like I really want to do.
Exactly. Okay. So now imagine if like, obviously you're going to have your intimate moments, but imagine if some of that time that, you spent or the energy with that person was dedicated to that common goal of like something that you truly want to have happen, right?
You never get there with that person though. That's like the shitty part, Dkay, because it's like, dude, like no one is
They're not interested, right?
They're not interested in that.
I know.
They want to just
want to fuck. Yeah. But see, because so now imagine if like, even if it's like 30%, 50% of the time is spent towards that energy. So number one, what does that do? It means that you're going to be more invested in that because you're going to be like, yo, this person, like, it's more than just the way that they look or how we like have sex. It's like, clearly I actually want this to happen and they're kind of involved in it. So I feel like they're an actual teammate. That's one. And then number two is going to be like, you're naturally going to find some sort of like roles, right? And it's so much easier to relate it to an actual like sports team. But imagine somebody is going to clearly assume the role of like either the coach or the captain of the team. And then there's going to be like supporting roles in the sense that like, who is the one who's saying, yo, okay, this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do. Right.
I feel like a man should kind of do that. And like, that's the issue too. Like, you need to find a partner that's going to want to invest in you and your goals.
Right.
And it doesn't have to necessarily even be financially. Like you just said, like, how am I going to support you and build with someone? And I feel like that's like how I am like a nurturer and like such a supporter. And like, I have all this love to give, but it's like, I'm giving instead of putting it into myself. Like how you said, like, you need to internalize these things, like date yourself, put all this time and effort into yourself. Because it's a reflection of like how much you love yourself and like how much you're working towards your goals. So it's like
100%.
I kind of come to this realization, like even within this past like couple of days, like I do not need to look for that. And it's not even that I'm looking for it. It's like it comes to you, but it's like, dude, like if you're not gonna want to build in the way that you just said it, then why am I even, you're wasting my time. You're gonna take me off the path that I want to be on.
100%.
You know what I mean? But it's like, it sucks. Like how many times did I have to fall to like come to this realization? How many times did you have to tell me for me to start thinking this way?
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm telling you got to do it. Because once you can do that, and then you know, like if you find the right person who is like, that's where it really, because then you, like I said, you get to know who that person is way faster. Because imagine, like, I already know, and I already know that I have patience issues. For sure. I do.
Me too.
You know what I mean? So for me, I hate repeating myself. I hate when people or don't take initiative, but then, okay, but what does that do to me? It makes me like, kind of abrasive and like, you know, I just don't have like space for it. So I know what my flaws are, but you would find that out like basically tomorrow if we were building. Whereas you might never know that if all we're doing is just kicking it and like watching TV and like smashing and shit. You would never know.
So true.
You know what I mean? And it will it'll only show itself later when we already are dating and maybe like have a kid and like we're living together, that, oh, you constantly keep leaving the towel here and now it's getting on my fucking nerves and I have to like get at you. But you would have already known if you could deal with that characteristic if we just focus on what was important in the beginning. Like, you know what I mean?
That's so real. And you know what? To add on to like what you're saying too, it's like be aware of like what this person is bringing to your life. How you just said, are you guys constantly kicking it? What environment are you in? I think I took myself out of it too. And I was like, wait, what is this person adding to my life? What are the settings that I'm in where you're taking me out of where I want to be in life? You're drawing me back into the nightlife, which I don't like. We're drinking, we're partying. Like it's not productive. It's not getting me where I want to be. I'm seeing how this person is living. You're showing me right in front of my face. But it's, again, you're clouded because you're intimate with this person. Oh, I like this feeling. It's too good to be true. You're in Lululand. Oh, well, maybe, you know, I see like some potential here. But it's like, we got to stop with that.
No, we got to, yo. I'm telling you, it's like, it's hard, but even, remember I showed you some DMs or whatever, right? Remember those DMs?
Oh, yeah. It goes down.
It goes down in the DMs. And so that person, they were continuing to like kind of, sorry, I'm looking at this little cat, yo.
Show it for the views. I'm like, look at the kitty cat. Oh.
She's growing. Yeah, she's definitely growing. We found her outside. She had a sibling, but the one didn't make it. But yeah, sorry. It's the newest edition. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So this person, I'm not gonna lie, super fine. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I remember the first time I sat down with her, like I don't usually get like nervous. But she was like, fine, you know, like.
She made you sweat a bit, huh?
A little bit. I mean, I always keep it, you know what I mean? I always keep it player. But at the same time, I was like, yo, this chick is fine, right? So then, you know, we had a couple interactions. Like, we had a couple dope interactions that, like, some got pretty, like, heated, you know. We never, like, smashed or anything like that. But, so I'm like, yo. But it gave me certain feelings of like, yo, me and this person, like, I like this. It's kind of putting me in the fairy tale mindset. Like, I'm like, ooh, like I could totally see X, Y, Z, you know? But so with that being said, I felt like for a while I was like ignoring the fact that this person was just playing overall. And I feel like as a guy, it's hard to like identify when there's a female player, because women play the game so well. Like, you know, women players.
So
Oh,
I think it's
yo.
like for guys. I think like maybe because like I'm obviously not. I could totally be like a player, and I think that's what's like totally like that's what's happening, and I don't want it to happen. I'm already like past a point in my life because I already went through like a very big phase of my life where like I was honest with everyone, and I was just kind of like, look, I'm not taking anything serious. But I think like my values and my morals have definitely changed. But I think guys are like very deceiving and just dishonest. You know what I mean?
You think so?
And I think girls are like, guys are very sneaky too, but it goes both ways.
It
like,
goes both ways for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're hard to read, I'm hard to read. That's why you're a guy and I'm a girl.
Right. Yeah, that's true. You know, I feel like I find myself, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like women, like, I don't know. I felt like, at least in this situation, I didn't want to believe that she was a player, but she's clearly a player because you should have seen, remember the stuff she was saying on my shit?
Crazy.
Yo, I go to her page, I go to her story. She's got like a whole other nigga like on her stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? This isn't even like, I'm like, I don't even feel a way about it. I'm just like, yo. And now it's to the point where I'm like, damn, like I feel sorry for homie because he's over here. And it's just like, you're in my messages. Like, it's just so messy, bruh.
But guys do the same thing. And I think it's even worse because then they're on a level where they don't even want to post up anyone. Or like a guy will be in your DMs today and then he'll be holding his newborn posting about it tomorrow. Just like, it's crazy. Like the bombs that have been dropped on me that I haven't even shared with you, like that have totally made me just kind of like, fuck this. Like, I'm not dealing with it, have been insane, bro.
What?
Like the dishonesty and like I'm just like, be honest and stop stringing people around. And like, there's things that you need to share with people. Like, I don't care how protective you are of like whatever it may be, but you need to be honest.
What the
fuck? If you're being intimate with someone, like you need to be honest and you need to realize like this is a person that like I'm like it's a very spiritual like emotional connection that you have with someone and we don't value it, but I do.
100%.
Like I value myself, I value my body, I value who I give it to. So it's like don't fuck around with that. And like if you're gonna be doing that with me, then like I deserve to know.
Right. Yo. Yo, it's crazy. Because another thing that like flashed into my mind where I don't know if I ever told you this, but okay, so I was out one time, right, in Vancouver, right?
Oh, shit.
And like, okay, so randomly there's like this baddie, right? And then, so I wasn't really sure, but you know, I wasn't really sure, to be honest, because I never really got too many vibes or whatever. But then randomly, this one time I seen her out, and she was on me, like, and it was to the point where even my guys at this time were like, "Oh, bro, what is going on with you?" Because I actually had like a couple like on me that day, and they like were like seeing each other, almost like competing with each other. I was like, "Whoa, it was one of those moments."
You're
like,
all like, I got 2 more bitches in the club.
I was gonna say it's like a music video.
Yo,
it was crazy. But the badder one, right? So obviously the one who was bad, I was like, okay, boom. So we ended up so she ended up messaging me on some shit. She was like, yeah, like I want to link with you. Like I want to do, like I want to cook dinner for you and like all this shit. And I was like, yo, like
cook dinner is crazy.
Yo, but I was like, yo, I had that at one time, and then I didn't take it. I didn't respect it. I just viewed it as, yeah, well, I'm the shit. Like you should want to do that type shit, right? And then I didn't value it, right? So this time I was like, oh, okay, like shit. Like if that's what you're like, if that's the card you're showing me, then I'm gonna like respect it. You know what I mean? So boom. Yeah. So I go, I eat the food and shit. It was pretty fire or whatever. And like, you know, she was all like on me and shit or whatever, right? But
dang.
So we kicked it a few times, and I'm looking at it like, you know what? Like I didn't even think that you would be like the type to date because she was just like a bad bitch or whatever. But I'm just like, you know what? Like I'll like take it somewhat serious or whatever, right? But yo, it turned out that like we would be kicking it, and I'd be trying to get into like decent conversations, and she was like not even having it. And it got to the point where one time she was just like basically like, yo, I'm really just trying to kick it. I'm not even trying to get into like these deep conversations about like X, Y, and Z, like to be honest. And I'm just like, word, like, I'm like, damn, like that's crazy. But to be fair though, not everybody, it's just, to me, I'm just like, hey, I understand that not everybody is like at a mental place to like even talk about certain things, you know, like they just want to kind of feel numb to certain things. But with that being said, are you ready to like date people then? Like, I don't know. People gotta just like, I don't know, you
You
know?
need, like you said, date yourself. I think investing time in yourself, you need to become the best version of yourself possible. And like, I'm telling you, like, I've been doing the work. Like, dude, I've been on my spiritual walk with like God. And like, of course, like, I have those moments where like I fall off. Like, everyone does. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Been in the gym. I've been eating good. Like, you need to learn to say no, I think. And just
Right.
like, the more you say no, it's like, the more my self-worth grows and like the more I'm becoming the woman that I want to be and I'm not tolerating shit. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to like fall. For me, like it's been this fucking ongoing like journey of like fucking failure. But ultimately, it's just like I feel like it's like God screaming at me like, dude, get your shit together
Yeah.
and then I'll bless you. So like,
Yeah, that's what
it's
it
just
is.
like, it's all dependent on what you like perceive it as and like if you want to take those signs or not. If you want to really sit down with yourself, look in the mirror and get real.
Yeah.
Put in that work. And that's what we're on.
That's what we're on right now. No, for real. I'm honestly excited because there's been so many seeds that I've planted over the longest time, and like now they're starting to like sprout, and I'm just like,
I love that.
yeah, like, you know, so I'm like, man, I'm just gonna keep on watering these. I'm gonna try and get, you know, more like consistent with my watering, all that kind of stuff, right?
Bless.
Yeah, and now it's like at the point where I'm just like excited to bring other people and, you know, put people on plays, you know, because a lot of this before was the idea of it. And because whenever I could conceptualize something, I'm like, yo, that's the play. I want to share it with people. But then they don't really like get on it until they see that like something has
Vision.
sprouted type shit, right? So I'm like, okay, now I'm like kind of bringing it back to like, you know, people. I'm just like, I just want to build, like, for real.
We're locked in, DK.
Hell yeah.
We're locked in.
Let's
That's
do
what
it.
we're on.
Hell yeah.
But
Always.
yeah.
For sure. Okay, so yeah. So this was a good chat. I love this chat today. I know everybody probably enjoyed it. So yeah, no, we're gonna have Tiana here like a lot more often. If not,
I love the way he says my name.
yeah?
Tiana. Your Vancouver accent.
Yeah? How should I be saying it?
Tiana.
Tiana. Yeah. I definitely feel, I feel what you're saying. It's way more like exotic, like with the Tiana.
She's an exotic baddie. I'm just kidding.
So no, we're definitely gonna have Tiana here a lot more often, you know?
Yeah, we're gonna be chopping it up.
Yeah, all right, cool. So until next time, peace.